It's not going on again. Come on. Why does it do that? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mona's Rants. I am your host, Mona Sheikh. You guys, we were having some technical difficulties, so apologies. I was disappeared for the first 30 seconds. You guys, today is a somber day, okay? I know that as a comic, I try to keep things light about things, but it really is a real tragedy. I'm sure you guys are aware of the Atlanta shooting that took place yesterday. And I know that the cops and the police and the law enforcement are not calling it a hate crime, yet it very much feels like a hate crime against Asian Americans. And it took place in Georgia, in Cherokee County, in Fulton County. 21-year-old white male by the name of Robert Aaron Long of Woodstock. He opened fire on 3 various spas, killing 8 people, out of which 6 were Asian American women. To discuss this horrific tragedy, joining me are my very good friend, comedian Kiki Yeung. She is the producer of Crazy Woke Asians. Welcome, Kiki. How are you?
Hi, Mona. Thank you for having me back again.
Yes, absolutely. I'm also here, very excited to have a first-time comer, Jiaoying Summers. She is the owner of the Hollywood Comedy. Welcome.
Hi, Mona. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. We also have another wonderful comedian by the name of Heidi Low. How are you?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. And last but not least, my old friend I haven't seen in a long time, a very talented producer, Cassie Dang. How are you?
Hi guys. Hi Mona. How are you doing?
I am sad, ladies. I am sad. This hate crime thing is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, mainly because I have been a victim of hate crime. I was attacked. It caused me a great deal of physical injury. I had to go through surgeries to recover from it. So this is, this hate crime is just on a whole different level. Kiki, I'll start with you. I want to hear your thoughts on this yet another hate crime against Asian Americans, which seems to be on the spike. It just not seem to go down at all. It just keeps going. These tragedies just keep rising every single day.
I know, it just doesn't stop. Like, I was just reading about it last night. I was just like speechless. I mean, because I go to the massage parlors, in St. Gabriel Valley, and to imagine those ladies, like what happened. And now they're talking like he had a sexual addiction. Well, he had a sexual addiction or whatever. He fetishized Asian women and then went in there and found some Asian women and shot them all. And, and it's just, I don't even know what to say anymore. I just feel like it's so helpless. Like, I keep seeing this, and then I saw another Asian lady get beat in the streets of San Francisco earlier today. Like, but she fought back this time, so that was cool. But overall, I'm just like, this is not stopping. Like, I feel like I can share and post about it and talk about it, but I don't know what I can do. I mean, what can we really do? Like, I don't know. I mean, there's Stop AAPI Hate, the organizations and stuff. But what is real? I mean, the president even said something about, Asian Americans and the hate crimes. Just how many days ago he said that in his speech on TV, right?
That's right.
Nonstop.
That's right. The Biden administration, even Kamala Harris came out and released a statement today about, just offering her condolences and thoughts and prayers for, the victims and their families. Jiaoying, would love to hear your thoughts.
This is definitely a hate crime. I just feel like we need way more media attention. This needs to be on CNN, on Fox, on every news network, and we should have people are on like shows like what's his name, Jon Stewart, and like everywhere.
Sean Oliver.
It's huge. It's huge. Yellow lives matter. I mean, all lives matter too. It's. We need to learn and study Black Lives Matters movement. How they promote just bring light to the issue, because this is huge. It is really
That's
big.
right.
We have elderly, we have grandparents, we have
That's
our
right.
child. They are Asian. They are gonna be bullied in the
That's
kindergarten.
right. That's
Our
right.
grandpa cannot go out to buy groceries. He's gonna get attacked. We need to
That's right.
really learn and see the racial, this kind of like a civil rights movement, how other race does it, how their talents, their actors,
Mhm.
comedians, and politicians speak,
Mhm.
and just make it a big deal. We are never gonna be too loud. We should
Right.
never worry about what people say. Like what Kiki said, she's posting everywhere. She's talking about every day,
That's right.
and she still thinks it's not enough. I just feel
Right.
like we should scream. We should be loud and annoying. Like
That's
fuck
right.
this shit.
That's right.
It
No,
has
I
to
agree.
stop.
I agree. I agree. Cassie Dang, would love to hear your
Hi.
thoughts. Hi there.
Hi. Well, in general, on the whole, all the hate crimes are on Long specifically, because I feel like there are a few different, well, specifically from the last night's shootings, there are a lot of things that are not really in the headlines that
Mhm.
that you hear about, like for instance, like his involvement with the church and the eliminating temptation
Yes.
was his thing because of his sexual addiction that Kiki
Yes.
touched upon.
Yes.
His family were the ones who reported him when they saw his pictures. They
That's
already had his phone tracked.
That's correct.
They
That's
already
correct.
were tracking his phone. So it's like, what really specifically was going behind this? Where, of course, it's definitely you'd have to look at the root of the problems, which could be a number of things. If it's a temptation or a sexual addiction, and it's definitely someplace he had probably visited in the past, is what I've read. That's a different motive than a lot of other hate crimes you also read on Asians. Not saying that it's different, but saying the motives vary too, because people are blaming Asians for the virus or whatever they're listening to from mostly the right side, But
Right.
and then also it's like, why do people feel like we should be preyed upon? Like if they really knew, like I think it's the elder, especially aiming the elderly, is like, it's weak and it's a bad idea, because we are raised to respect our elders,
That's
so
right.
it's like us kids, we like us younger generation, most of the ones who are raised in the same type of traditions, like, want to protect our elders even more so than anyone else. So it's like, we're really gonna come
Right.
back. Like if anybody touched my dad, I'd be all up on them. I would throw down immediately, like if my mom or dad were like even spoken to the wrong way, I'd be like, what's up?
Exactly.
What's up?
Listen, if somebody did that to your dad or mom, I'd be up all in their business. I'd be
Right?
like, back the fuck
Yeah.
off. Like,
Oh
seriously.
yeah. Yeah. When I'm around, it's like,
Yeah.
who are you looking at?
Right.
Yeah.
But,
Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Heidi Low, your thoughts.
Yeah, I feel I'm in United States more than 20 years. This is the time I feel more unsafe more than ever. Not just for me, for the people in our community. As we talk about it before the show, I would say anti-Asian always there, always in people's minds. I've become a comedian. It's because of that. That's another story, long story. Briefly, just because I was discriminated, and I just fed up. Okay, you say I have a Chinese accent. Let's see. I'm just going to go to a big stage. Anyway, so this is short version of a story. But last 4 years, the older administration, and another thing I want to say one is, don't give that person name. You give the name, you repeat what they say, that you give them power. So I never mentioned his name. Last 4 years, he said so many about, just like you guys said, about the China virus, all the things against the Chinese, even at the trade policy. That gave those people already had their anti-Asian inside of them. Now the administration, the older administration, not our Biden administration, they gave those people permission to go out, act.
That's right.
So I blame on the older administration, especially the top guy, but I also feel American, half of the American.
Yes.
put him in the office.
Yes.
So I think our job is we need to educate our American what's right, what's wrong. So when they make a choice, they will make a right choice. I think the 50% of American first time made the wrong choice, they feel it, right? That's why they choose the new administration. So that's our job. We gotta protect ourselves. We gotta fight for the anti-Asian. The next thing we gotta do is we gotta educate the Americans. So that's our job. So my secret career, I'm a professor.
All right. Yes. I'm all
Your TED
about
Talk.
education. Ladies, I wanted to share this thing I read, which I found really sad and disturbing. I read that Asian women in particular made up the highest share of long-term unemployed workers last December, according to a January report from the National Women's Law Center. Now, let's talk about these victims. Now, 6 of the 8 victims are Asian American women. I don't think it takes a genius to figure out these are clearly not very high paying jobs. But yet there is this sentiment about Asian Americans that the Asian Americans are the model minority, right? They're the doctors and the lawyers and they have all the money. They're like balling out. But nobody really kind of looks at the entire framework of how many there are so many people in the Asian American community who are not that. They don't have access to that, those kind of careers, and they have to do the kind of work that they do. These are not very high paying jobs, run massage parlors, and especially during the pandemic, how much the small businesses have suffered. I guess my question to you guys is, you guys listen to this. I mean, these are all women. What are your do you think the concept of the model minority is a false narrative? Kiki, we'll start with you.
Definitely false. I mean, just like what you said. I mean, there's so many the demographics of the other opposite side of the other type of Asian Americans that are not doctors or lawyers that have suffered a lot during the quarantine and the COVID, and they're suffering in silence. And on top, I read somewhere where the Asian women are the ones that are mostly getting harassed and discriminated too.
Of course.
And it's like they prey on our silence or our humility. And I just think it's we need to dismantle the model minority myth, because that's the way that the system's set up to make us separate from the other minorities, right? So they hate thinking we're better. Why are we, we're taking over the jobs, and I think somehow we have to figure out a way to dismantle the model minority myth. And like educate, this should be in like high school, elementary, high school, right? College education. There, I mean, not just when people major in Asian American studies. They should be teaching this in high school, I think. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Along with the Chinese Exclusion Act and the stuff that happened to the Japanese Americans.
That's right. I mean, the Chinese Exclusion Act, you're talking about the concentration camps that the Japanese were put in. I mean, 100%. Like, well, yeah, I guess anyone who's went into high school in America knows that so many of the fucked up things that that we are in our history have been simply just eliminated. They've just been omitted, and they're like, oh, the Native Americans got together with the white people and cut a turkey and had a great time. Woo! And it's like, oh, yeah. You skipped so many other messed up things that were done to the Native Americans, and I think the same thing applies to the Asian Americans. Jiaoying, what are your thoughts about the model minority narrative? I personally think it's a fucked up narrative. What do you think?
I think the model minority narrative is kind of racist. Just like every Asian man is good at math, like every Asian man has a small penis. Like
I am
Asian
not
girl
good. I'm not good at math.
Blah, blah,
I don't know
blah.
about you guys.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at math.
It's racist. It's like, oh, I'm telling you, I'm just saying every Asian man is good at math. Every Asian girl is good at math. It's not racist. Why you are bad? Like, what's wrong with you? It's the whole thing is racist because Asian race is like any other race. We have some of our population, the parents does not have the kind of job or background to give the kids education the way they wanted. Then some of the Asian kids, they don't have the education to become doctors and lawyers. Therefore, they have to compete in jobs that are low paying, but they don't have the same opportunity because they are not viewed as the same as other race. Even like there's a lot of Asians Asian Americans are in poverty in Chinatown in New York. They live under the poverty line, and then sometimes they don't have the language skill. They don't even know how to get any benefits. Nobody care about that. They just assume all Asian has the best education. They just have better job and they steal jobs.
Right.
It's really sad.
Yeah, I agree with you. Cassie Dang.
Hi. So I do have a law degree and I did pass the bar. So I am in that statistic, I suppose. But I also do not practice. So I guess I'm still in that unemployment statistic, if you will. But even though I'm a producer and manager, so I'm not really unemployed. Yeah, I mean, model minority is definitely, I agree with all of you that it's racist and it doesn't help because, well, one, what does model mean? That's like subjective, and that's to generalize any group in any way is not the right way to be looking at it. And then also it's like, and minority, just seeing us as a minority, like just if you just break down the words, it just sounds racist because
that's right.
You're generalizing a whole group of people, and that's just never gonna be valid or never gonna be accurate in any way because people are different. It doesn't matter what ethnicity or race or what countries we come from. We're all different people. People are gonna be different everywhere you look. So it's silly. Like, hey, maybe we developed some areas of math and science and whatever. Maybe maybe Asia is very good at manufacturing certain things. Like there are just areas that were like, but every country has their thing, right? Like
that's correct.
Everyone has their thing. So it's like, and like some of the smartest scientists are coming out of like Europe and things like that. It doesn't make sense for people to still adhere to the same types of old-fashioned, like traditional-ish type of terms when it comes to, especially America, which is supposed to be a melting pot. So it's like seeing anybody as a minority is already just like categorizing in an unnecessary way. And especially, I hate generalizations in general, especially like gender, role. Even though I did do the whole the whole lawyer thing. I did do the whole. I did listen to my parents and did all that stuff. I eventually got to a point where I said I have to do something that makes me happy, and that is not seen in traditional Asian eyes. Like what's comedy? Like
That's
but
correct.
so like I don't like being pigeonholed in any way. So I can imagine that nobody else really does either, even if it's supposed to be like a backhanded compliment or whatever it is, like oh yeah, they're good at things, but it's still racist. It's still like putting us in a box, and I hate that. That's the worst.
Yeah, I agree. Heidi.
Yeah, so we should look at the fact. Woman is more working in those service industry. So you go to a salon, who's there? Most women. Not to say there's no man. Nail salon, restaurants, tour industry, all those service area, most is woman. Low paying job, minimum wage. So that's in pandemic, those jobs are gone. Salon closed. Now all closed. The tourist industry all closed. So that's why when you say that statistically, most Asian women actually lost job. That is the fact. Another fact is, women actually in United States owns more business than men in the numbers. In men, they may have a big company, but we have number of the small business owner is a woman, actually. So those small, see, that's what you see. So those women, those small business also affected by the pandemic. So that's also, you can see, actually, we're not in worst time yet. It's a worst time is going to come. There's so many business will be closed permanently. So those people affect the life forever. I understand why those people think Asian always good. Asian family, we do value education a lot more. That's true. But it now means every kid will listen to their parents. All right? Your parents want you to be a lawyer, doctor. Not means you will be a lawyer, doctor. I have so many friends. They're supposed to be a lawyer, now they are a comedian. So that's another thing. And so you should be a doctor. No, now you're a comedian. So another thing about the American immigration, when immigration come at an old age, 30s, 40s, not when you are in high school, actually you are difficult to find a good job in United States. It's difficult to get a degree in high paid position. So what do? The music professor in China, they're washing dishes in restaurants.
That's right.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's
right. No, and I'm going to echo off of Heidi, what Heidi just said, right? I mean, look, South Asians, we're also Asians, even though in America we're called South Asians. But if you go to Britain or Europe, we are Asians, just like you guys, right? We all belong to the same continent. And you're absolutely right. Just like the Asian culture, in the South Asian culture, education is number one, right? We respect our elderly. We are very much about family. You know, I wanted to kind of bring a point about this guy. The fact that they're saying they don't know what the motive of this guy is. We all know what the fucking motive of this guy is. He went into salons owned by Asian women. Probably the owners were probably Asian women, right? And he was planning on going to Florida after this and doing the exact same thing, but he got apprehended because the FBI got involved very, very quickly. His parents are the one who recognized him and, got him arrested, actually. So he's this 21-year-old guy, and they're asking him, and he's like, I had to eliminate the temptation. Ladies, I'm sure at some point in your existence in the United States of America, you have been approached by some douchebag fetishizing you, telling you that, oh, I've never been out with an Asian woman. I had a dude once tell me, I've never been out with an Indian or a Pakistani woman. How are they like in bed? I'm like non-existent because you'll never catch me in yours. And I'm just like, what is that supposed to mean? So now he's talking about I had to eliminate temptation. So listen, I love In-N-Out and Sprinkles cupcakes, but I'm not going to go and burn down In-N-Out because I can't stop eating their fucking burgers. This is ridiculous, okay? I'm not gonna go and fucking burn down Sprinkles cupcakes because I'm like, I can't take these temptations and just burn them. This is ridiculous. Ladies, first of all, do all of you have some kind of personal story about being fetishized like this?
Yeah.
Or being told some messed up things like this, right? Something messed up. I want to ask, this horrific stereotype of Asian women being submissive, Asian women being like these sexual creatures that are submissive and they'll just do whatever you want. Can somebody tell me where the fuck does it come from? Please, anybody.
Geishas, concubines, history, I think, maybe.
Right. But that's just a handful of women who did that. That's not everybody.
I
but
feel
it's a fetish,
isn't
it?
Yeah.
Go
I feel
ahead.
like it's because we don't have enough Asian comedians, Asian actors, Asian actors telling them this is bullshit. Like, stop this thing about Asian women. We just have to speak up.
Okay.
No, I punch my husband because my coffee is not good enough. Like I just. We are not like that. We're just like any other one. We are powerful, beautiful creatures, right? We just have to know that. People it's really right that people would say crazy things to us. Like really stupid.
My son desperately wants
that.
Oh, hello, kiddo.
Okay.
You have to join the conversation.
We need to go. I don't know why he's unlocked the door somehow.
Now I have to watch my mouth.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
I definitely want to watch my mouth. Sorry, Cassie, you were still talking about geishas and concubines.
Yes.
And
I feel like
Go ahead.
I feel like that a lot of those things get more exposure than the strong female Asian roles. Even like I think there are some fetishes about like ninjas and comic book heroes who are like Asian, but it's still like a sexual fetish, it's still like, whether for some reason there's been like some type of like submissive imagery, which is crazy because I'm like literally the farthest thing from that.
Ladies, none of you come across as submissive to me. And I'm going to include myself in there too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no,
there
for
is
sure,
nothing submissive about us. Literally nothing. If we were submissive, we wouldn't be here having this conversation.
I mean, look at the movies though. Like the first Chinese American Hollywood movie star, Anna May Wong. She was like in all these roles where I think she couldn't really kiss a white man on the screen, and she was always like the dragon lady or like the one that's like the mistress. And it's just like the culture, like perpetuating it from decades and decades ago, And like someone said, colonization, like the white man's here to save, and we're like the plaything, the China doll, the happy endings or whatever. And that's just never stop. The love you long time bullshit.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm Vietnamese, so I think the French colonized Vietnam a long time ago, and it affected most of our culture. So I'm sure that things like that.
Yeah. And I'm from Hong Kong, and we were colonized by the British. Yeah. And growing up, the white people are the better kind of people.
Yeah.
You date a white guy, oh my gosh! And my older brother, like looked up to dating a blonde hair, blue eyed woman, like she's the goddess, right? Like you grow up with these things, like if you speak perfect English, you have white friends, you're cooler, you're more accepted, you're like higher class or whatever, that kind of sentiment that I was brought up with, that I fully dismantled since I've moved here, and it's been hard, like. Yeah, I love my white friends, but at the same time, you have to see that, you cannot keep putting the white race as the
to unlearn it. To unlearn that. Yeah, I got the same thing with my family too, and like I only noticed it recently too. Like my mom, I think my mom was behaving a little, or I got mad at somebody, and my mom behaved differently than she would have with one of her like her Asian friends, and I was like, "What's up?" I was like, "Why would you hold me back from telling that person that what they were doing was wrong?" And she just didn't have an answer, and I'm like, "Is it because he's white? Like, is it because he's a white man? And she just didn't have an answer for that. And I thought, oh, this is literally one of those times when you realize this is where people get it from. You can't just let people get away with things just because you were taught to respect that color.
And also it's also on like the subconscious level. I don't know how big is skin bleaching in in China and Hong Kong and in Vietnam, but in Pakistan and in India, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. My mom used to bleach my skin growing up because I was too dark. My mom would say that I almost bring shame upon the family because of how dark my skin is. So this is the kind of messed up narratives that you grow up with, and they kind of grow up with this color hierarchy where you're just like, if you're the fairest, then you're the prettiest, you're the smartest, you deserve all of it, and the darker you are and the darker you get, the lower you are on the totem pole.
I think historically that's because the rich people stayed inside.
That's right.
And the poor people worked outside. And that's why that's where like in Thailand, I think that's a big, they still do a lot of skin bleaching over there now. That's right. I think, but I think that's the thing. It's like, it's part of class. Like if you're light skinned, that means you don't have to be outside working as much. Like, but like now, like I try to get tan all the time, and it's just a crazy thing.
That's right.
That's why parents don't want you to go out to play in the sun, because you will get a dark. You get dark. Umbrella. Because we are parents, right? Yeah. So
with their arm warmers.
Oh yeah, the Pfizer.
So
my mom was traumatized with her freckles growing up the whole time. She would tell me that cream. I was using that just 10 years ago. I was like, oh my gosh. And when Lucy Liu was on screen, my dad was like, she's ugly. Look at all her freckles. Instead of being like, wow, there's a Asian woman on the screen with Drew Barrymore and Karen. Like, why is she on there? She's so ugly.
She's hot.
Her nose and her freckles. Ew, she's just not pretty. And that's what he can only say when he saw it. And then you think, oh my gosh, like exactly what you said, right, Mona and Cassie?
Yes.
My mom is very, very pale. She's Snow White. She's so white. She's so pale. When I was born, I was so dark. My mother just said one sentence. She said, I promised the Buddha 10 years ago I'll be a vegan because I've been eating meat. And now you are the punishment. So she became a vegan after.
Wow, that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
You are
Yeah.
the punishment because I
Ma-
lied to Buddha. So now she's not eating meat.
Right.
That's totally something my mom would say too.
I feel like so many else because I'm dark.
Yeah.
Asian moms be like,
Asian moms be like, for sure. You know, during the press conference with the head of Atlanta police chief, and they had all the other county sheriffs. One of the reporters asked one of the sheriffs that were these actually just spas, or were they also doing sexual things at the spa? And I really did love the response by the sheriff, and he goes, I'm sorry, the Atlanta head, the Atlanta chief police head. She said we're not gonna do any victim blaming here. We're not gonna put the blame on the victims, right? If you have a problem with sexual addiction, especially if you're madly attracted to Asian women because they're beautiful, go to a sex addiction place. This is the part that really messes me up, right?
Mhm.
This is a very resourceful country, right? This is a very we have a lot of resources here. There's AA, there's sexual addicts anonymous. There's therapy, there's eating cupcakes. There's many other ways that you can deal with your bullshit, right? But you chose to pick up a gun and go in and kill all these innocent people because you somehow put and he's religious, by the way, which is another layer of bullshit to add on top of it, right? So I guess my question to you guys is, first of all, we're unanimously agreed that this is a hate crime against Asian Americans, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
No question about it.
No question about it. Because the problem is that the way the legislation is written, and that is also one of the big part of the problems, is that the legislation is written in a certain way that when a hate crime is committed, the person doing the crime has to be like, I hate you, Asian American person. And are you catching this on audio and video? Okay, cool. Asian American person, I hate you because you're Asian and I can't stop masturbating to you, and therefore I will shoot you.
Oh God.
It's a sort of a messed up legislation, because how many times will it work out that way? More than likely not. More than likely not. So do you guys I don't know, is that something that
love crime? Is it a love crime then?
It's a love crime. Exactly. Precisely.
I mean,
Cassie, you're a lawyer. Yeah, you're a lawyer. Do you think that, there are going to be Asian American politicians who are going to stand up and ask for a revision of this hate crime bill?
This is precisely why I don't practice anymore. So there's that. But yeah, why I didn't do criminal law. But I would love to see the exact wording of the legislation. So I'll definitely have to look that up, even though that's not my area. But still, it's very interesting. If that's the case, if you have to somehow prove that it's hate, that definitely needs to be amended, in my opinion. Right. I believe that my con law professors would probably agree that any type of narrowing of any definitions within the Constitution needs to be looked at further as time goes on, right? Because as we evolve as a country and as people and as humans, things are going to have to change. Clearly, that has already happened in the past with all the amendments that we've had thus far. So yes, I think that it would be very wise for not only the Asian American politicians, but basically all the politicians, even the ones we don't expect. Like they should all want to take a look and reevaluate the language in certain areas that are meant to protect humans. I feel like safety is one of the rights that I should feel as an American, is to feel safe, and with a lot of these legislative, wording and terms keeping me from feeling safe, a lot having to do with COVID, and it's it's the right to my body, but it's like, what about the right to me wanting to be okay, or my parents being okay? There's a lot of different sides to the coin, but at the same, but here it's like, there's really no question that legislature needs to be reevaluated and amended every so often.
Right.
I
yeah.
want to add something. I think not just look at the day, that day he committed a crime.
Mm-hmm.
He is basically, there's no if. He is
Yeah.
yeah, he is. So
Yeah.
there's no way just happened one day. You
That's
can
right.
look back all his social media, his
That's right.
friends, his family, what he talk, he act. So there is a way to prove this is a hate crime. So I'm pretty sure nobody will born just one day say I go to salon, I kill somebody, I don't hate them. That is the way. So that job is on the shoulder of law enforcement. I'm sure they are doing the job right now. I'm pretty sure. I heard that they are looking at his social media accounts, stuff like that.
I saw that from another comedian. She posted a thing that guy tweeted. And he was like, oh, the China blocked the investigation of the Wuhan virus. You know, China is to blame. We should kill China or something. Like, he said something crazy about China and Chinese. So it's on Twitter, I think.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was going to say that in criminal law, you know, even involuntary manslaughter is one of the elements is a heat of passion, right? So something like that. Some type of provoking or something. So in this case, you know, like, why wouldn't that count for this hate crime as well? You know, or some sort of like other wording, but it's like, or like, you know, because otherwise it'd be like a love crime, you know, crime of passion or whatever. It's still a crime. You still just murdered a bunch of people, and it's still racist, and it's still, you know, and it's still racist against a certain group of people.
That's right.
Whatever you call it, that's still fucked up.
100%. 100%. Ladies, do you feel that, you know, when I was listening to the Atlanta police press conference, one of the key things that they kept saying a few times was that we have spoken to the man that has been apprehended, and he says that it is not race driven. He says it's just that he wanted to eliminate the temptation, and he said that it's not race driven.
And he was having a bad day.
He was having a bad day. He said, my masturbation is I'm getting too many calluses in my hands, and I have to do something about it.
Oh my gosh.
Now, why is it important for police to believe what he says? Not only believe he says, also announce to the world. Why? Why is it important? He probably said many of things. Why is it so important for police to announce that before the investigation? So I don't understand. I'm not happy with the police saying that. The police can not say anything. Just say we're investigating, right? We don't have to. Why the police have to tell the world what that guy says? What he says is important. No, he's a criminal. What he says, he's lying all the time. You know.
That's correct.
Why you should, as a police, as an official, why you should take his words for and announce to the world? That I really mad of them.
Jiaoying, thoughts?
Yeah. I just feel like it's crazy. It is a hate crime. It is a hate crime. Like Kiki said, he had something against Asians. He thinks Asian women are objects.
That's right.
It's just like you are a sex toy. Like
that's right.
I can only look. I can't fuck. Like I'm gonna fucking throw you in the trash and burn you. Fuck you, bitch. You are not a human. You are not a real woman. Like you don't deserve to be treated like a real woman because you're just this sex object. You are a sex robot. You can be bought or destroyed. It is racist. It's based on this all kind of racism conceptions towards the Asian women, that we don't talk, we are submissive, we are sex robots, and the way they love you is not like real love. If you love somebody, you respect them, you want the best for them. It's not love, it's this sick obsession, hatred towards a group of people.
That's right.
Asian race.
Yeah, I agree. Kiki?
like when is it gonna stop? Like what can we all do? Like besides, sharing about these and what can we do? Like I just want a solution. Like, every time I turn on the social media, it's someone getting hit, another guy getting punched, an old lady's getting lit on fires. Now this shooting. I mean, almost feel like they've seen this more anti-Asian hate crimes in the mainstream media. So now these crazier, like more extreme racists are like, you know what? I'm gonna show you like how much we hate you even more. Like I don't know. Like maybe it's not that, but that I feel like the guy saying that it was a whatever what do you call it, sex addiction, like if it was a black guy or an Asian guy or a Mexican guy that's saying that, will the police take their word for it so fast and announce it to the world?
God, no.
Right?
God,
and
God,
the,
you know the answer to that, Kiki. Goodness. Listen, if it's
Right.
a brown guy, he's automatically a terrorist, right? If he's a brown dude, he's automatically a terrorist. It's like he has ties to ISIS, and it's like, the dude doesn't even know how to spell ISIS. Like what? Like, what are you talking about? But I 100% agree. Here's a question for you guys, and this is something that I've been thinking about, and it really applies to minorities in America. And especially, I just feel like America always, every 5-10 years, kind of goes through these moments where they pick on certain minority and then just go after them. And when they have no other minority to pick on, they go right back to killing innocent black people. So it just is like this vicious cycle that just keeps going, where it's like, oh, which minority are we going to pick on? So sadly, because of our former chief in charge, I call him turd in chief. He was a fucking orange turd. He was the one who was saying Kung flu and the Chinese virus. That level of sentiment like really sunk into the racist brains. And they were like, oh my God, that's a dog whistle for me to be able to go out and hurt Asians because they're not really human. Do you ladies feel that when myself, you, Asian, South Asian, and other minorities, when we are kind of put in these groups, it's like the Asian community or the South Asian community, do you feel that to these racists or even to the outsiders looking in, do you think they look at us as less than human because of it? It's almost like takes away our individuality and just kind of puts us in this group, like this group. They all think alike and they all do the same things and they don't really have individuality. Do you think that works against us?
Yeah.
Cassie,
Yeah.
go
For sure.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you do, the Asian thing, but let's go different direction. If we continue all those direction, people hate us, let's do open heart, open door, open your arm. Again, back to my theory, you educate people. I was on the board for US China, sister city. Those are wonderful organization channel to let the people learn what the Asian culture is, what the Asian history is. So that is the way I was educate people, making friends with people. I'm just saying it's not just Asian. Today, just like so, every 10 years, every decade to pick up. Today is Asian. Tomorrow could be somebody else. So if you allow those discrimination, those hate crime keep going, not stopping, you never know. Even you're white today, you never know which day will become you are the hate subject. So we want to educate people. We want to learn each other background, why we do such things, why Asian always eat rice. You laugh at that. You guys Asian must eat rice, but we're not laugh at you. You always eat the bread and the pasta, potatoes. That's what do we do? So that's what we should share food. I always like to start with the food. Chinese food solve everything. We know hate food. Let's start with culture exchange, which we did before, but not as more as we should.
Yes.
We should open the community, have as I said, sister city is wonderful. Sister city, not just that people from that city, actually include all the people in United States you can join.
Mhm.
China friendship is the oldest one. You probably Pakistan, India. Actually, I went to the India Mumbai sister city. I just want everywhere I have food. I just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Indian food. So I think we just start launch those kind of thing. I don't know, organization, festival, food, something tasty. We just start launch those things to against the hate.
Right.
Instead, I against the people say brown life matters, because when we do this, we put black life matters down. We should just let people understand the Asian culture. That's just what we want. Everybody to understand Asian culture. We open our door. We open our heart. You bring your empty stomach. That is the way to make a world better place. Because hate, you grow hate. Our group against your group.
Yes.
Well,
I agree.
Like religion against another religion. Look at the East, Middle East. They are war millions of years, never will end. So that I don't think is the approach. We approach understanding.
Yes.
Like, we should have a comedy tour called a culture tour, something.
Listen, I'm all about that. I'm all about that. Here's a question, Heidi. I mean, you're talking about these, you're talking about this education, teaching people about, the Asian American the Asian culture.
Yeah.
How does one do that? How does one do that when you live in some deep hick town in Georgia, in Alabama, in Mississippi, in Nebraska? How do you reach those folks? Because this guy lived in somewhere deep in Georgia, right? He had access to massage parlors. He had access to the internet. He could have just Googled and tried to learn about Asian culture, but he chose not to. He chose it for something very dark and very deviant, right? He chose to go and buy guns. He chose to go and shoot up the place and kill innocent people. So how does one kind of start that conversation? How do you educate these people? Are you talking about putting this education in middle school, in high school? What kind of education would that entail?
For that particular case, as I said, that was from the top. He never will have the encourage just start publicly doing that. But the last 4 years, the top give him the permission, basically. Basically, our top of the leader.
Yes.
4 years gave racist, discrimination, sexism a permission to act on, just the same as he gave the permission to vandalize the Congress. So that's the permission is on the top to give them. And so dangerous is a matter of the Congress is they do not impeach him in the second round, which means also give those group a permission.
That's
say,
right.
Okay, just let him leave the office, but he will come back other day.
That's
so
correct.
that is very dangerous. That's why I said our not in the good day yet.
That's right.
Our fighting is so dangerous.
Yes.
I don't have a solution for that one because political is not my thing. I don't have a solution. I know that problem is so deep in our political system.
Yes.
I don't have a solution. So sorry.
Okay, that's fair. Kiki, Jiaoying, you guys have any?
Gosh, I just feel hopeless. I mean, I look at the Black community and how long this slavery and racism has been going on, and how much Black Lives Matter movement is trying to put up rights and legislation and stuff for the Black people, and see how that is going. I mean, I just don't know how it can trickle down for Asian Americans to be looked at like we belong in America and we're not foreigners. Like how many times have we been talked to and said ni hao? Like so many times for me. I mean, hello, I'm from Hong Kong. I'm American. Like now when people ask me that, I'm just like, I'm from America. And they're like, really? Where are you from? Really? I'm like, America? like you just get so tired. And then also the thing where you feel like you shouldn't get mad because their intentions are not bad, right? They're like trying to be friendly. They're trying to show off the 2 Chinese words they know, you know? And why are you trying to educate them? I mean, I understand, Heidi, you're being very sweet and kind and gentle, and that's the kind of people we are, Chinese people, we're Asian people. You know, that's why they always think we're submissive and quiet because our culture is loving, right? But fuck them. Like, I'm not going to you go educate your fucking self. I've been educating myself on white people for my whole life, okay?
Yes.
I'm beyond mad. I'm just like, I don't know. I can pray and meditate and send love. Like, I don't know all these organizations, not to, you know, make light of what they're doing, but I don't know how is it going to help? How long is going to help? How long? Yeah, calling people out, great. But, you know, these people are, I've seen people, like, the other day I took my son to the playground, and this kid just kept running at him, just saying, I don't want to play with you. Go away. And he's not my kid's Asian, right? So the other kid's not Asian, obviously. And the parents just stood there, didn't say anything, just attacking it. He was just like, can I play with you? Can I play? And the kid's like, no, just charging at him like 5 times. I'm like, damn, these fucking parents are not doing anything. They just stood there and watched. So racism starts at when they're young. Obviously, these parents how are we going to educate all these damn parents? We can't, because they choose to be that way, because they're brought up that way. It's so ingrained. It's in the blood. It's in the genes. Like how hard, it's hard to even fucking like confront that shit on your own. Like my own racism and stuff that I grew up with, you know, the internalized shit, and also the stuff my parents taught me about Black people, Mexican people, you know, or even Filipinos, or like Middle Eastern people, you know. I have to go and try. But if you don't have the desire, doesn't matter. We fucking talk about it all day long. They're not gonna give a shit. They're just gonna do like that kid, that mom that punched you and you know, put you in a neck hold at the Beverly Center. All the kids are looking in the back of the van. That's where it starts. But how about the kids and those grandparents and the great grandparents? I mean, I don't know.
Yep. I listen, Kiki, I'm right there with you. I think that's why when I heard about this is such a, last time I had Kiki on, Kiki and I had this very deep discussion about, hate crimes against Asians. And I was telling her why this topic is so close to my heart, because I was a victim of a hate crime at the Beverly Center in 2013. This white woman kept calling me a terrorist, and she came and she physically attacked me. And when she got me in a headlock, she yanked my neck so badly, she herniated a disc in my neck that 4 or 5 years later, they had to cut me open and put a metal disc in my neck, right? Nothing happened to this woman. She had her kids behind her when she was spewing these racial slurs at me. The case went to court for a year. It sat there. Nothing happened to her. And she walked, not even a slap on the wrist. So I think that's why I'm just so incredibly passionate about this topic, because I'm like, man, I have single-handedly experienced racism. And, you know what the technical point was for them to let her go and not consider a hate crime, you guys? Do you want to know what the technical point was? They said that the legislation is such that that's how I learned about the legislation, that the legislation is as such that because we only had the video and no audio while she was spewing the racial slurs, they said that the video is not good enough to say that this was a hate crime intended. Well, I was like, well, what about the things that I'm telling you that she was spewing at me? They're like, yeah, but that's just one side, and we can't really take that as a hate crime.
But I think time are different. Could you ask her for reopen the case?
It has a statute of limitation, 2 years.
Oh my God!
It's called double jeopardy. Yeah, it's called. Yeah, they're not gonna do it.
We need all have like a body camera with us.
But why should we? Why should we though, Heidi? Why should we? What have we done? We've done nothing but go out, bust our asses, work hard, contribute to the society, pay our fucking taxes, and be good citizens. Then why the fuck do we have to walk around with fucking body cameras and constantly look over our back?
Oh my God. This happened to me too. So this lady, she's just walking next to me and poking at me. It was on the beach. She was saying like, you fucking chink, go back to your country. And I said, stop poking at me. And she just pokes me on my back. Then she comes closer to me and she pokes me on my face. I punched the Jesus out of her. I literally punched her on the nose and she bled. Yeah.
Good.
So the police came. police came and
police
she said
came.
I attacked her because I'm I'm a foreigner. I attacked her. She's like, oh, you attacked me because you are low life, low rent, blah blah. I'm like, I own that fucking house, bitch. Like you are low rent, and the police asked, who? I mean, so beginning is verbal. She was saying this kind of shit. I didn't do anything, but police said they can't charge me because she kind of attacked me first for poking me on the face.
Yeah.
But there's no hate crime, nothing. She walked away like nothing. But I punched her on the face. I didn't care. I'm like, okay, bitch. I'm gonna go to. I don't care. I'm going to. I'm for prison. You go to the hospital. You die today. I'm not. I'm not doing that. You are dying today. I don't care. I'm gonna go to jail.
Yeah,
I
girl.
don't care.
I tried, Jiaoying. Dude, I tried. That bitch had me in a headlock. I had her in a headlock. I'm sure I've done some damage to her body too, but mine was quite significant that I had to.
She's a monster. She's a monster.
She's a monster. But listen, here's the thing, right? It's the emboldening, right? It's like doing this to one person, not getting any slap on the wrist, not being convicted of a crime, then you get more emboldened. They're like, oh, I can get away with this. Let me go do it on another person. Oh, I get away with that. Let me go do it on another person. And you teach that to your children. Oh, yeah. So now you've multiplied your demons and your demonic way of thinking to go out and carry out this level of crime. Listen, we're not seeing Asian people go out and attack white people, because of the hate crimes against Asian Americans. Asian Americans, even though that they are sadly bearing the fucking brunt of this bullshit that Trump left behind, Asian Americans are not going out there attacking white people. Do you see that shit? I don't see it anywhere. Did we Middle Eastern people or even Muslims or South Asians go and attack white people because, we were being, chastised because of September 11th? We didn't do that shit because the innocent people have nothing to do with the fucking criminals. What does that have to do with us?
That's right. And we know what's right or what's wrong. So that's why we don't do this. But like you said, if we don't stop them, then give them the encourage to do more and more. Also, the group of people around them, they will learn from them. Like, look, he killed somebody, nothing happened, and let's do again. So that's why
they're gonna keep trying to one up each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're gonna be like, no one's ever killed a bunch of Asians before. Let's do that. No one's killed a bunch of, they're just gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, we need to stop. Speak out. We need to stop this, and then we need to send that guy to jail for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I want to commend women like you all, ladies, who are in the media, because my theory is it's not going to be anytime soon, but it's got to start with the media. It's got to start with, wherever in the media, because that's the only way to really reach those people who don't get any exposure to other cultures other than their own, And so more TV shows, more movies, more characters, more actors, more comedians, more specials, more books, more documentaries, all that stuff, all in the media, I believe is probably the fastest, although it won't be fast enough. It can't be, but it'll be, I think that's the way to do it. And so I have to commend those of you who are in front of the screen and out there spreading the word and out there, like, even though that you're kind of have a target on you, I believe in you and I support the business as much as possible, but, like seeing women who go on stage and are in the spotlight and who actually take on the attention and are able to pay it forward or try to at least advocate for all of the Asian Americans, that's the only way to really do it in my opinion. So I commend all of you ladies and all of ones like you who are out there fighting the good fight and just doing it face to face with people directly in the way that you can.
Well, thank you, Cassie. I appreciate that. I mean, I honestly, I'm. Here's the thing, right? Here's the thing about allyship. When I read about the story and it really broke my heart, and I read more about it, I was just like, look, when Black Lives Matter happened, I was out there marching, with my Black brothers and sisters. I went and marched like 3 times, right? You put your mask on, and you're like, we're gonna go and support, right? Now that there are crimes happening against our Asian brothers and sisters, the other communities like myself, South Asians, Black community, Latin community, just like we stand up for BLM, we also want other minorities to come and stand up for the Asian American community as well, right? Because we are all allies and we are all in this together. The thing is that it's always the good people, you see. It's always the moderates and the good people who end up eating shit for the fucking extremists. And that's the shit that really pisses me off. And I think what's particularly interesting about the Asian American hate crime is that there are no extremists involved here. Right? This is just someone literally looking at you and saying, hey, that person looks Asian to me and I don't like Asian people, therefore I will go and attack them. Now, there have been no attacks by Asian people. No Asian people are going out there and committing fucking crazy attacks on white people or any other race for that matter. Then why this level of fucking hate that has been brought on with the narrative of, oh, the Chinese virus is really fucking damaging. So here's a question, ladies. Now that these crimes are they seem to be just keep getting more and more and horrific. How does the Biden administration really come down and curtail this shit? How does, on a state level, on a federal level, thoughts?
Well, they can't affect they can't affect the states necessarily.
Sure.
Unless they somehow amend one of the federal laws or one of the constitutional laws that, especially address this. There's no easy way, honestly. Like we've been trying to advocate for Black people. We've been trying to advocate for the Mexicans at the border. We try to advocate for all types of people. And so far, to what end, But I mean, I don't think that means we should give up. But for the Biden administration, it's going to be tough, and it's going to have to be creative for sure. Something different.
Something such as what? Heidi?
Yeah, of course, like I said, you have to show that guy shouldn't be jail. We should punish him, on the law enforcement part. Another part is so interesting. Actually, today I saw that show. A lady was in the Target. I don't know if you guys remember, acting crazy, hurt people. So now he go back, talk to the, the doctor, therapist. So find out not he, that's Asian. Sorry. He or she, with no difference, or Chinese. So she was mentally break down that day, basically. So that's why all things happened. So she believes those conspiracy, theory. So the mental health is so important. When people inside, they're not balanced themselves, they will more likely believe this conspiracy. They will be more likely believe Chinese kung fu something. So that is a big task for the administration to. I know that's no easy task. That won't be fixed tomorrow, won't be fixed next few years. But that's the roots of those people. Just like it's a plant. If your roots is not strong, you will be, easily be sweet, convinced for those stupid. Not always. We're normal people. We laugh at them. How could you not believe? How could you believe those things? How could you understand? Wear mask is the simple protection. We're laughing. My niece she's laughing. My little kids are laughing at the Americans people. How could you don't understand? Like taking you a year to understand you need a double mask. We had a double mask a year ago in China. So because the roots is because their roots is already, bad. So we need to fix that thing. But it's take lots of again, I have no quick fix. But that should be one part of the administration focused on for those mental things. Right? We laugh at them. I was like, how could you believe what she said? Remember one day say he's coming back to become president again in March 4th.
March 4th. Yeah, the QAnon people. Yeah, they were saying that.
Are you guys crazy?
Yeah, is the Pope Catholic? Yes, Heidi. The Pope is Catholic. Just like these people are absolutely batshit crazy.
Okay, March 4th. Did he come back? I checked the last time not. So again, just simple things we think, we laugh at. How could you guys don't understand?
That's
And
right.
those people are, totally believe it, so
That's
deeply believe it.
Yeah.
Those were the base of his supporter. So
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
how to fix
Yeah.
them.
I mean, let's be clear. I think once the Biden got into the White House, I don't think there was any more cheeseburgers and Diet Cokes available. So I don't think Trump is coming back because he loves his cheeseburgers and his Diet Coke. Ladies, I want to ask you, since this rise of crimes against Asian Americans, big during the pandemic, have you guys personally or have relatives or family that has experienced verbal assault, physical assault? Jiaoying, I know you mentioned yours, but Cassie, Heidi, Kiki, what about you guys? Have you guys personally experienced anything like this?
I actually before the pandemic, they already have like one time you gotta go to Staples to use a fax machine. That time you don't have fax machine or copy machine. Remember, you don't have it at home and they make a copies. I was there. The two white people will come say, Asians come take all the resource. My strategy is, yeah, I know you will fight. I don't. I just let them standing there, see them. I have no response. Why? Okay, just you think when you drive on the freeway, the guy honking on you, so mad, right? But if you don't hear, what he does, he pisses off himself. Same thing. I mean, for 20 minutes, I just let them say it because I didn't hear. So what do you do? So if I don't take in, their purpose is not received. Same thing for Asian ourselves, for the whole world, where God tell them stop the crime. For our Asians, we just don't take your shit, basically.
Right.
Pretty much.
I don't hear of you.
Yes.
You do to me. If you don't, I don't hear of you. You no effect to me.
Right.
Don't-
But it's different, Heidi. But it gets very different if they try to come and physically assault you, because then some people do that, right? Then they're like, man, the verbal assault isn't working. Now I gotta get physical, right?
Okay,
And
let's
that's when it gets
get
into
down.
dangerous waters, right?
Yeah.
When
you
give me a pepper spray.
Paper spray. Okay. Yeah.
He's gonna
I have a
give me
taser.
pepper spray. You have a taser? Oh wow! See,
I'll bring chopsticks. It comes with chopstick to their eye.
I haven't. I fortunately haven't had any physical harassment. I believe due to me being Asian. I am the only one in my immediate family who was born here, so I kind of have I'm the white kid in the family because I was the one who grew up with American.
You're the Twinkie, Cassie? You're the Twinkie?
I am the Twinkie. I'm the happy accident, if you will. So luckily, no, I haven't. I myself have not, and it disgusts me to hear stories of that happen to you ladies too, and anybody who's been a part of that. It's just, I mean, but the sexual harassment all the time, So and the the objectifying and and it's funny because I do things that can or cannot be stereotypical. I used to drive, used to race a lot. I used to drive really well. I still drive really well. And so, on the streets, the guys will race me on the streets. Back in the day, I don't do this anymore. But when they would race me on the freeway, and then they would see, as soon as they saw that it was an Asian woman that beat them, you could see it on their face, it hurt them, it pained them, So that's how I guess that's how I fight back, is by showing them, I play poker. I played poker for most of my life. And so when I'm at heads up with some misogynistic white dude who doesn't care that he's misogynistic, I will beat him and take his money and be like, oh, I'm sorry, what was that? So I guess that's my way of fighting back. It's just being better, or at least fighting the stereotypes, because in that way it's they really can't say much about it. It's it kind of just teaches them a lesson in a way, even though they probably don't learn. Most of them, for the most part, they probably don't learn,
Right.
But show the respect.
I mean,
show the respect.
Yeah, we deserve it. So, I would prefer to advocate and to encourage positivity more than try to fight and try to argue about it.
For sure.
So I am on the side of Heidi's, educating people and inclusion and things like that. So more so than the fighting.
I agree with you on that, Cassie. There is this restaurant near my place called Genghis Khan. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a kosher Chinese place. I am in love with it. If I could eat there every day, I would. Mainly because I'm from New York. I grew up in New York, and it reminds me of really good New York Chinese food. So I go to this place to go pick up my food. And the guy behind me, it's just me and this white dude. He's behind me, and I shit you not, ladies. He walked up to the Asian lady behind the counter, who was more than likely Chinese, and he goes to her. Wait for it. Arigato. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out. I picked up my food and I just stood on the side, and I was like, if he says dumb shit, I'm gonna start recording. Like if he starts harasser, I'm like standing right here. And I waited. And then she just looked at him. She's like, she's like, how did you place your, she was like, she had a look on her face like, you dumb fuck. Like she gets
it all the time. I bet she gets it all the time.
Yeah.
I used to work at a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah.
No, any kind of dumb shit like that all the time.
What is some of the dumb shit you've heard, Cassie?
Oh my god. People always think I'm Korean, and so they just but even Koreans think I'm Korean. So I guess that's not a white thing. But just what you said earlier about I've never dated an Asian girl before. Cool, like we care. Like, does that matter? Or lots of things that are just saying oh, well, aren't you good at math? Things like that. It's just so hacky, I guess, for you comedians. That's such a hack bit for these dudes. It's just so really that's offensive already. So I don't know. It's just there's so many things.
I just feel offensive when people say all Asians good at math. Sorry. I say I'm not offensive. They say all Asian good at math. I would say sure, of course. Just give me your money.
Right.
For you.
I'll count it.
Certain things I'm not offensive. You say Asian good at this, good at we're good at it. So let us.
Casey, next time when somebody say I never did an Asian before, just tell him I never fucked my cousin before. Oh, nice. Let's be friends.
I'm sorry.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. We don't bang our siblings. That's not what we do here. Kiki, what about you? Any kind of?
I heard on Clubhouse that they're making fun of this thing, saying that he didn't get his happy ending already.
That's what I was saying when I read it.
He didn't get it.
When I read it, that's what I thought too. I'm like, maybe they didn't.
They're saying he didn't get his happy ending, and I guess things happen to me, but not. It's never escalated like physical violence. I was at Best Buy one time, and this white lady walked by, and my son was throwing a tantrum because I wouldn't let him open a toy. And then she walked by and she had the audacity to tell me, whose kid is this? And I'm like, it's your kid. And she's trying to tell me he needs a nap. I'm like, you need a nap. Like the look on her face was like, damn, she's talking back. If it was a black lady or a Mexican lady, I don't know if she would say anything. Cause I haven't slept in 5 years. I was like, I don't give a fuck. You don't talk to me about my kid and disciplining him. Okay. And she just went, and her son, her adult son, was standing next to her just quiet, like blushing red and just looking down, kind of smirking. I think she does this all the time, not my business. I don't know if she's being racist, but she thinks she could talk to me. I'm like, I look like a nice Asian woman, I'm not gonna talk back, but you got the wrong Asian. And this other time I was going for an audition, and I had to be on my phone with my friend that was gonna watch my son while I was going to the audition. So she didn't give me address. I was lost, and we just parked, and it was downtown LA. I was on the phone, and then was trying to put him in the stroller, and he tried to jump out, and then this white lady walked by and get off the phone. And I'm like, you get off the street. It's like, what the fuck? And then I'm like, what the fuck? And then she tried to come back at me while I was crouched down trying to put my son in the stroller, and I freaked out because I didn't know what she was gonna do. And then I was like, get the fuck away from she wasn't trying to help me. She just yelled the shit out of me. It was 2 p.m. in the afternoon. But I never allow it to escalate. These days, I have to stand up. I have to speak up. One time, my mom got rear-ended by a white guy in Seattle, and he came out, started bitching at her, and she was just shocked. She was so quiet. I had to defend her. Hey, you know what? You're the one that hit her. You can be quiet and let her talk her side. You know, like, I don't know. I mean, it's such a fine line, but I feel like as an Asian woman, I always feel like they look at me like I'm smile, I'm nice, and I'm not going to talk back. But you know what? You got the wrong Asian if you're going to come at me. You know
You got the wrong Asian, man. That's right.
Same. They ain't never heard of Tiger Mom?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tiger Mom's a real thing.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Nothing wrong with
Mom's real.
Tiger Moms. I don't know why
Right.
it's a bad thing.
They need to be scared. They need to be scared. They gotta listen to that.
Tiger Mom, yes.
I agree. Ladies, nowadays, when you guys go out, do you are you constantly watching your back? How scared are you when you go out where you're like, I need to have a taser on me. I need to have pepper spray on me. I mean, how much more heightened is your threat level about your safety, versus a year ago or 2 years ago? Anyone?
Man, I'm on the street today. I walked down in Pasadena and I saw this white lady with her dog. She kept looking at me, staring at me. I'm like, oh shit, was she gonna sick her dog at me? So I just really try to keep walking. I didn't even look at her. I could feel her looking at me. That's how like heightened aware I'm like, shit, should I just turn around? But then I had to look back, make sure she doesn't turn around. And then last weekend I was filming in Chinatown. I was crossing the street. This guy was just standing there and kept looking at me. And I had to wonder, like, oh shit, is he gonna attack? But I never thought about stuff like that a year before, right?
Yes.
Like now, it's just all this stuff that I'm seeing that I have to be cautious. I have to be aware, right? Like, I hate thinking like that. But I almost want to shut down all my social media so I don't watch any of these but then I have to stay informed, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I lost my car, in the parking lot, before the police. I have a friend of police tell me, you spend too much time, like, you take your purse and stuff. Now you got to put a mask. No, I just be careful. I take a mask stuff in the car, before I go out. I quickly lock car. It's very stupid, but I know. That's
my husband,
I love my car too.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry, Jiaoying.
yes. So my husband, he never lived in America. He's a resident. He just spent most of his time in Shanghai. I lived here. I came here when I was 18 years old. I've been in America for like 12 years. So I know how things can get, especially with this hatred towards Asians. Yesterday, I went to UPS to drop off an Amazon return. I got off the car. My husband just like left the car door open. He was sitting there on his phone. I'm like, honey, you better close the door because I see a guy walking towards the car. He was looking at me funny, and because he's seen my I don't know, chinky eyes. I don't know. My husband's like, no, this is Hollywood. Why do I close the door? I'm like, lock that motherfucking door, and he won't. And then the guy just crashed the door, and my husband locked the door. He tried to open the door and take my bag. He was like opening the door. My husband had to drive away.
Oh my god!
I don't know. I don't know what happened because he just doesn't believe things like this can happen. People would attack him because he looked like an Asian. He think, oh, it's America. It's America. It's America. Nobody's gonna attack you. It's 1 p.m. in the afternoon. People never imagine that. I can't imagine that.
I know.
That's the funny thing.
I haven't been out. Since the pandemic. I actually went and lived with my parents and helped take care of them because they're elderly and I'm the only one who's not married with kids. And so I haven't really had that many opportunities. However, I'm sure that it's not going to be easy going forward. I mean, I live in LA, so it's like a woman in LA always has to be careful, always. You know. And I've been a single lady for like 5 years or so, and so that's kind of like it's part of the mentality, like you don't fumble with your keys at the car, you don't go in dark areas, you keep your phone on, maybe have some type of like pepper spray or something on you if you're going to be out at certain areas and things like that, so I guess we'll have to see going forward what it's going to be like with the added. And like when you said the secular kind of racism, I feel it's more like layers. You know what I mean? Like because they don't go away. The racism against the different ethnic minority groups, like it doesn't go away, so it just more kind of just like piles on top of each other. And
Kiki mentioned a really great point earlier. You brought up this point about we are look, every race grows up with a level of prejudice and racism against other races, right? Racism is not exclusive to white people. Racism is in every culture, in every race, right? We look, I grew up around a lot of Chinese in Pakistan because there's a massive Chinese population in Pakistan. Mrs. Liu and her son Sean, who was the same age as me, I grew up with them. So I grew up around Chinese culture. That's what I grew up. So I'm very, very familiar with the Chinese culture. My very first boyfriend was Chinese. So I'm very, very familiar with the Chinese culture. But I guess what I'm trying to understand is that, do you guys feel that when people, you were talking about, how you were, Kiki, you were mentioning about, even the prejudices that you're taught against, like, about like Middle Eastern people or, or Latinos or blacks or whatever that thing is. Do you also feel that, there's also an anti-Asian sentiment against an anti-Asian sentiment from other minorities towards Asian community?
Yeah, some definitely. I think there is. I think it goes back to the model minority myth, right? That try to divide us, make them feel like all these Asian taking on resources, right? What happened to you at Staples, Heidi, right? Like, it just trickles down, and then they generalize us too, that we're taking over, right? China is taking, but it's China. We're not all Chinese. We're also Chinese Americans too.
That's right. Right.
We're citizens too.
Okay. So I actually have a positive look forward on this. You guys may be thinking me crazy.
I think you're the sunshine of this group.
Yes.
I just want you to know that.
Because
I'm the dark cloud and you're the sunshine. Okay.
Thank you. The reason they are hating Chinese so much right now is because the Chinese are strong. China is getting stronger every day. So Americans feel the threat from the economic points, from all kind of points. So that's, they attack you more. Remember the Jewish, the German, killed all the Jewish. Is also they are strong. So I'm proud of my country actually. I'm not agree with everything they do, but I do proud. When I came 20 years come here, China is nothing, not in the map. I was actually through the golden ages. Everything is because I'm Chinese. Is so great because we have investment from China, tourists from China, all the foreign students from China. Because you're making money from our Chinese. We're getting strong, so they are getting scared. So what do? They just start, put you down. So that's another reason. So they directly link their unemployment with China. So I always tell them, actually, international trade, I'm an economic professor, that's why, actually create more job, a better job. China is take over your low-wage job, your kids can go to school, get a high-paid job, become a supervisor at the manufacturing in China, or become the a trade organizer, whatever, communicator in the company, so you don't have to work your kids, not you. Your kids don't have to do the low labor intensive job because Chinese. And another thing, I guess, I don't know if that's probably another topic about the China making cheap. No, China is not cheap. It's American demand cheap stuff. They want to pay more price. So we manufacture cheap stuff to send it to the US. You go look in Shanghai. You grow up in Shanghai. We all buy expensive stuff.
Yeah.
We don't buy cheap stuff.
Yeah.
We sell to the US. Anyway, so that's another topic next time.
No, I mean, that is such, honestly, Heidi, like, I've never been to Shanghai and Hong Kong, and I would totally love to go. That is actually one of my dreams to go. And I would love to go. But I did not
come visit me.
Beijing and Shanghai. Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's go comedy tour in Shanghai.
Let's do it. I'm about it.
Yeah.
Underground
I'll make
comedy
you Chinese food.
Let's do
I'll
it.
cook for you.
Dude,
I will try
Dude,
cooking for you
homemade
guys,
Chinese,
all of you.
nothing beats homemade Chinese food. Homemade Chinese food is some next level stuff. When I had my first boyfriend, when his parents used to make me homemade Chinese food, I'm like, this is blowing my mind. Because this is nothing like the stuff that they serve in, like, you know, the cheaper Chinese restaurants that they have in New York. I'm like, this is nothing. Like, this is such high quality food. And, you know, when you don't come from the culture and you're looking as an outsider in, you're like, oh, this is, I guess, this is part of the cuisine. But then you eat a homemade food, you're like, dude, this has nothing to do with what's actually the real
Panda Express.
Not
Panda
even Panda
Express.
Express, exactly. Precisely. Ladies, we're gonna start wrapping up. Thank you very much for taking the time to
you.
chat with me. This has been such a lively and such an educational conversation today. Kiki, we'll start with you. Where can people follow you, and where can they follow? I know that you have a show coming up this Saturday. Then I'm also
you're gonna be a guest judge, and she's gonna
guest
perform
judge on it.
stand-up, so you guys should all tune in. We're live streaming from the Santa Monica Playhouse, so you can follow us at Crazy Woke Asians or at Kiki Funny Mama. That's my. But yeah, you guys want to join? Come out. I'll send you the link, and you can comment and vote. But Mona's gonna be like the judge. That's like, if there's a tie, she'd be like, I think that was funnier.
Yay.
I'm gonna come with my gavel. That's what I'm
Okay,
gonna
do that. Bring it. I have a picture and symbols that we make noise because it's live stream. So I try to make it, lively.
Loud? Okay, awesome. Jiaoying, what about you? Where can people follow you?
Yes, please follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Jiaoying Summers. And also follow me, my comedy club is a Harvard Comedy TGC Virtual Open Mic. I offer free open mics every night at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. The host is Don Barris. He's a comedian from the Comedy Store. He's hosting every night for my live open mic. It's free on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Love Dawn.
Awesome. What about you, Cassie?
Just check me out. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Twinkie TWNKEE. You can also look up. What's up?
I called you Twinkie earlier.
I know. But there's no I.
Twinkie, what?
It's Twinkie with no I. And then TWNKEE or Dang Entertainment or Marcus King Presents. I work with I do a lot.
Okay. Awesome.
And I'll see you guys in Shanghai when we do their tour.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Listen,
It's our hometown too, Shanghai.
I would love that. Heidi, what about you?
Just follow me on Facebook, Heidi Law, and the Instagram is Heidi Law 1. Yeah, that's
Heidi Law 1. Awesome.
Yeah, I have a show on next week, Wednesday, on Chocolate Sunday. So,
Yay!
Yay.
It's big. That's awesome.
Yay! Yeah,
Very
I
excited.
can tell my Chocolate Sunday joke.
Yes, so easy.
Yeah.
I know that joke. I'm on it in April. Like,
Yay! That's awesome.
That's lovely. Ladies, stay safe out there. Get your tasers. Get your pepper spray, whatever the hell. Just know that there's an ally here that I will always stand by and help you guys and speak out for you guys. So thank you very much for being here today.
Thank you. Thanks,
so much,
ladies.
Mona. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
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 Oh my God, you guys, what an incredible conversation that was. I've never had so many incredible ladies on my panel before, and this was such a treat. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do. You can go to youtube.com/Mona Sheikh, my last name and the word comedian, Mona Sheikh Comedian. I'm also on TikTok and Facebook of the same name. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Mona's Comedy, and I will be back tomorrow with a brand new guest. You can also, when you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you can watch all my comedy there. You can watch all these other old Mona's rants that I've done, and also my Minority Reports podcast and digital series playlist. You guys have a good evening. Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care.